Welcome everybody to Train Tuesday. I hope you all out there had a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, Happy Boxing Day, all of those great times to get together. Man, I don't know about you, if you got some new trains under the tree. Hopefully you got some new stuff for the layout or modules or whatever it be that you're modeling on. We're going to talk primarily today about N-scale. But don't worry, we'll have some HO stuff. In fact, I've got some really cool stuff to share with you guys later. And we'll take a couple of questions. So, hey, before we get started, let's see who's joining us out there today. We've got Frederick, Bradley, Derek Glass is in the house. We've got Dawson, Terry, Matthew, Eugene, Tom, Zach. Let's see, SP Scotty is here from Gold Canyon, Arizona. John from Texas, Darren is here. Tim Peters coming in from Kansas. And let's see, we're going to have a full house here today. So a couple of things I want to remind you guys. First thing is this is the last time we're going to be doing Train Tuesday on a Tuesday afternoon. Now, a while back, we had a survey go out, and we wanted to find out when you guys would rather have Train Tuesday. And it turns out a lot of you guys, well, you're working in the middle of the day. So you don't get to join us like a lot of these fine folks that are joining me right now. So after the first of the year, in January, we will start doing Train Tuesdays live on this channel at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So depending on where you are in the United States and Canada, add or subtract. Now, for our friends over in Australia and Europe and other places abroad, you might not be able to meet the time to get on here for a live feed, and we understand that. If you go over to our YouTube channel, you can certainly watch this after it's been archived. And if you haven't done so already, when you go over to YouTube, do me a favor, go ahead and click the like, then the subscribe button, and hit the bell, because when you hit the bell, no, it doesn't mean that Tsunami 2 sounds that good. It means that you've got a new video that's coming from Athearn. And trust me, at the beginning of the year, we're going to have a lot more videos than we've had in the past. So, see who else we've got here today. We've got Steven. We've got Thomas. He's coming from Waukesha, Wisconsin. And he says, more N, please. Well, Thomas, stay tuned. We've got some N for you today. We've got Are You a Train Man 2? We've got Ted. High Rail Hobo says hello to everybody. And Dawson Little, you got some stuff there. I'm trying to read real quick. Okay. Well, we'll talk about that a little bit later, maybe. Bruce from New Jersey. We've got Bob. He's also from New Jersey. And we've got Jonathan. I think I got you before, Jonathan, but hey, he's from Ontario, Canada. We love our friends up north. And John from sunny Colorado. So let's do what we always do. You know the drill. Let's go ahead, put down the hobby knife, assume a comfortable position in your favorite chair, grab the beverage of your choice, and let's get started with Train Tuesday. Now, I'm going to add this to our stream here. We're talking N-scale 40-foot van trailers, and we're also talking about N-scale F89-F TTX cars. Now, if you missed it, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago because we're also offering these in the Genesis and Ready to Roll lines. The Genesis F89Fs and HO and the Ready to Roll trailer vans. So one thing that's really neat, and what I've got here on the screen, this is from a previous release. This was in May of 2018. And let's go ahead and show you what we've got for this release. Now, we've only got a few more days before, believe it or not only is December out the door, so is 2021. So you only got a few more days. If you see anything here today that you'd like to pre-order, you've got about 2 days to do it. So first up is we're offering, all of these are going to be offered in 3 different road numbers. And these are, the first one I got here is the 1960s version. This is the earlier TTX. And I take that back. It's actually 4 road numbers per item offered. So everything you see here is going to be available in 4 different road numbers. So real easy to build out a fleet of these. So this is the 1960s. This is back when they were called Trailer Train. In the early days, the Trailer Train was formed in the late 50s, and they came upon this to be their corporate colors, kind of an oxide reddish brown color, and they fully spelled their name out on Trailer Train. So if you're modeling the 1960s and you're doing a Class 1 railroad, specifically some of the Western roads, or maybe say New York Central, even into Penn Central, this would work really well for your layout. Now, the thing that I say every time we talk about N scale, especially these long cars like this, yes, they are a longer car, they are a scale car, they really like the wider radius curves. They're not going to do well in a 9 3/4 turn. They're not going to do well in an 18. They're going to do much better at a 22. 22 is about as tight as you really want to go on these. Otherwise, they just look a little absurd. But for you guys out there that are into N-Track and Fremo N, these are perfect. These will work really well. Now, I have run these on T-Track before, and they will run, but it's a little tight, especially the way T-Track is set up. T-Track is really great for more of your smaller trains, some of your passenger cars, things of that nature, but it looks a little toyish in the curves. So for this one here, if you're into a modular club, Fremo N or even N-Track's the way to go with these. Now, we're also offering these in the 1970s. By the 1970s, Trailer Train had shortened their name to TTX. They had also come up with a rather simple logo, the 2 black T's, and they went to this mustard yellow color. It came out in the early 70s, I believe around 71 to 73, they introduced this mustard yellow color. And this is perfect for some of the vans that we're going to talk about coming up, the Z-VANs that we're going to talk about here in another few minutes. And again, these were popular on, say, the Santa Fe, all the way to Conrail, and before that, maybe even Penn Central. Now, if you're modeling 1970s, these are perfect for that. You can tell if you look real carefully at the markings, this is really lends itself to 1970s modeling. And most of the trailers that were hauled on these were 40-foot trailers. We've offered a later variant of the 1970s, and this can go into the 80s as well. A little bit different. You'll see some subtle differences in the markings as things were, changing through regulations with the FRA. Now, for you guys that model the 1990s and an N scale, the 1990s is a great time to model. You've got a lot of great railroads still out there. You've got Conrail up until the late 90s. You've got BN, you've got Santa Fe, and you've even got some mergers in there too. After 95, we've got BNSF. And I know a lot of the BNSF trains that I would rail fan on the Transcon, these are the cars that I would see. Now, at this point, they had changed their logo a little bit more. They were still called TTX Corporation. This is before the later reddish orange logo that they would use that you see now that's commonplace. But for you guys that are doing the 1990s, these are perfect for that. Now, we're also offering these with the 40-foot trailer as well as a flat car. Now, I'll address it right now because I've heard it before, and you guys that are into this, you know how this is supposed to be. Our art department does it this way. They put the trailer on the last yoke there. I don't know why. If you look at our product photography, though, you'll see that we have it right. We put it on the front. Now, obviously, we really want 2 trailers on there. But in this case, this setup here is coming with one F89-F freight car, and it's also coming with, in this case, a Relco trailer. Now then, again, this is 1960s, so it's that older paint scheme, fully spelled out Trailer Train. You can definitely use these up into the early 70s. They didn't get repainted overnight. Another one for the late 60s into the early 70s, Penn Central. The friendly worm logo is applied onto the trailer, as you can see here. And you've got the ACI panel on these. Really common for these trailers for this era. You knew this one was coming. Now we've got a different car. We've got the mid-70s version of the trailer train, now shortened down to just TT, or TTX rather. And you've got the Rock. And I don't know about you guys, but nothing really screams the 1970s for me as far as railroading as the Rock. For many years, known as the Rock Island. And they went through a lot of different paint schemes, especially in the 60s. Where they went from a maroon and yellow to a red and yellow. And then finally, they tried to redo their image in the mid-70s, trying to help their overall look. And they went with this really bold sky blue and white, and they changed their logo, and they just dropped it to The Rock. Has the sound of a movie to it, if you think about it. And personally, I always thought it was a really cool paint scheme. There's a lot of people out there that would agree with me, and there's a lot of people out there who would disagree with me. But if you're modeling the 1970s, these were all over the place. And these are just a great addition to your 1970s fleet. Into the 70s and kind of going into the 80s, we've got the Mopac. This is another one, real popular, specifically through the Midwest all the way out to the West Coast. So the next thing we're going to talk about are the actual trailers themselves. I'm going to go ahead and check and see if we got some comments or questions out there, because like I said, I don't always see it because I'm working on two little things here. Let's see. I think Tom's pretty excited about that. Yeah, I was one of the strange ones. I always liked Rock Island. To me, the Rock Island was the Boston and Maine of the Midwest. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let's see. All right, well, let's see. I don't see any real direct comments or questions on the F89Fs. Hi, Rail Hobo, don't worry. Everything you're seeing today, we've also got in HO, so don't fret. The F89F freight cars, they're being offered in our Genesis line, which is HO, and then the trailers that you're seeing, we're offering those in our ready to roll HO line. So don't worry, Hi Rail. All right. See if we get some new comments down there. Yeah, I won't do my Sean Connery for you. I won't do that for you. I see some questions about some stuff that's stock status. Be patient. Try to keep those questions towards the end of the broadcast. Let me just preface that by saying, with everything going on in the shipping world, things are delayed. So we're asking for your patience. There are some items that are delayed. And what's really weird is some items will be getting here sooner than others. So we'll talk about it a little bit later. Okay. There you go. Yeah, and if your layout is big enough for those, I mean, it probably looks really cool. I've always been jealous of the N-scale guys that have a layout in their basement that can accept modern, longer equipment. I've never had that. Never had that luxury. Okay, well, let's go to the next thing, and that is these really cool 40-foot trailers. Now, this one here, this is from a previous release. It was in February of 2018 we announced these, and I got to admit, I missed out on these. I should have picked these up because you can still see these in Vermont. I still see them sometimes when I go to Rochelle. I've seen them in Rochelle, Illinois on flat cars. The Vermont Rail, they got around. There's a reason why. They had a lot of these trailers. But we're not offering the Vermont Rail in this announcement. We are offering some favorites, though, and some we've talked about, like the Rock. The Rock, again, we're offering these in different road numbers so they can complement what you have. and you can put these on your layout, which is what I do with a lot of mine. My N scale layout is a small industrial layout, and you're going to have tractor trailer activity. So it's just a natural to put these on there. Now, every one of the trailers that I'm showing you, they're available as singles, not just on those flat cars that we talked about earlier, but they're available as singles, and they're available in 2 different road numbers. So you can mix and match. You can build up a fleet real quick. So along with the rock, sticking into the 1970s or late 60s, we've got the Penn Central. You know, for you guys that are modeling Conrail, N-scale Conrail, there's a reason for you to grab some of these, especially if you're doing early Conrail. Again, I've said it before, nothing gets painted overnight. Mopac, again, 1970s, 1980s. And you know what? Here's something else that a lot of people don't think about is just because the trailer or the item that we're showing you is said to appear exactly like this within this time frame, if you're modeling the 1990s or 2000s, doesn't mean you can't grab one of these. Just weather it really well, and it'll still look great on the layout. I can tell you right around here, there's still plenty 40, 45-foot trailers sitting in old industrial parks that have somewhat been abandoned. I mean, we've all seen it. You can do that really easily with these. And then last but not least, we've got the Relco trailer. And this is 1960s into the early 1970s. You've got your ACI panel. And it's one of those things where I know personally there's a lot of N-scale tractor trailers out there. Some don't have the detail that we offer. Some have more. But we try to keep a nice price point with the amount of scale detail that we have on these. And then, in fact, I think I've got something here. Yeah, here we go. Got a couple. These are from previous runs. These are actually from my layout. These are the 40-foot trailers. We've got the Southern one there. And just coming into view now, we've got the Union Pacific. And these are great. I mean, these, I can't run F89-F cars on my layout. Because like I said, these cars are just way too long for my little operation that I have. But I can certainly add these up because I've got all kinds of trucking going on. And since I'm modeling the 60s into the 70s, you're going to see more tractor trailers in my industries than you did a few years earlier. So they're making inroads, and lots of neat stuff to look over. But yeah, that's one thing to consider is while you're doing your model railroad, while you're doing your modules, anything like that, think about things like this. Sometimes setting the scene of your layout for a time and a place has a lot to do with what you use for not just locomotives and freight cars, but also, also vehicles and trucks and things of that nature. So, all right. I saw some questions here, so I'm going to start looking here what we've got. Corey wants to know, are we thinking about doing some flatbeds? Oh, I haven't heard anything direct from development, but I'd keep you posted. How's that? Something that definitely has my interest. Terry says, these are one thing that should always be released and unlettered. Yeah, this run we did not do that, but there's something that can make that happen really quickly, and just very carefully adding a little bit of alcohol, isopropyl alcohol on here, a little bit of work, and they're pretty much, if you look here, like the Southern car, that might be a little bit tough, but the Union Pacific car, a little bit of work, you can make that just a plain white trailer. Maybe the next run we'll do some just straight white ones. Let's see. Here's a good question. Steven says, I try to be period specific with my trailers. Do you think Athearn will go into the 70s and 80s American automobiles? I know licensing is a pain. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Licensing can be a struggle. Some automotive manufacturers are easier than others, but here's the good news. Athearn is owned by Horizon. Horizon Hobby has been producing model airplanes and model cars in the RC world for many, many years. So we've already got great relationships with a lot of the automotive manufacturers, which means we've already got some inroads in there, and we are working at perhaps bringing out some different options for you. And that being said, too, looking at 70s and 80s models, no, we're not going to do Corvettes, and we're not going to do Mustangs. We're going to do more of the stuff that you probably remember, you know, the Town Squire station wagon or the Pinto, or things that people really had in their driveways in the 1970s and 80s. Because that market, there are some other companies out there that do vehicles, but quite often, especially with the diecast companies, they tend to do more hot rod style cars, which in reality, most of us growing up in the 70s and 80s remember the station wagon or the sedan, not the fancy cars. So if we ever do that, we're going to want to hear from you. And you also want to send in your comments and questions or suggestions to our product suggestion email. Ramsey's got a vote for 90s cars and trucks. And it looks like he's got a 71 Challenger in his, that's all right. There's definitely a need for 90s utility vehicles, everyday passenger vehicles, and definitely tractors, like semis and such. So. Oh, here's another good high rail vehicles. Yeah, we've had comments on that in the past. Tim says he likes the Mopac and Rock Island trailers. Might have to get them in HO. And lucky for you, we've got those same trailers in the Ready to Roll line. So check that out. Go to athearn.com. Go to the new announcements. Scroll down till you get to the Ready to Roll and check those out. Call your dealer. You got about 2 days to place those pre-orders. And I will let you know, too, in the past, whenever we've done trailers, whether it be to HO or N scale, Rock Island sells really well. Mopac sells really well. So you're going to want to get on the pre-order and not have to worry about whether or not you'll be able to get it or not. All right, I'm just kind of going through the comments here. What's the status on the Athearn yard tractors? They are on their way. It's going to be a little bit because, again, those shipping delays. So while we're on that subject real quick, I'm sure most of you have been keeping an eye on not just your model railroad shipments, but maybe some other shipments as well. And this has affected everything from, you know, full-scale automotive parts all the way to sometimes clothing and sometimes food, unfortunately. There's been some delays, and we're no different. We've got some delays right now. We're working through them. A lot of people are asking about the SD70 ACUs, the BNS F-9s, all of those. We're really hoping to start seeing those towards the end of January. Now, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Sometimes those dates will change. There's a little bit of elasticity involved, especially right now with everything that's going on in the world. But keep in mind, we try to keep those dates as close as we can on our website. So you can always go to our website and check that out. If there's no date on there, that means we don't have a firm date that we want to give you. We want to make sure that we've got something for you guys to work on. Now, the nice thing is if you pre-ordered any of these items, you really don't have to worry about it too much unless you're impatient like me. I'm still waiting for my Boston and Maine Jeep 9, so I understand. But if you pre-ordered these, your dealer will give you a call and say, hey, you know what? Those items that you ordered, they're in stock, and all you got to do is go down there and pick them up and enjoy them. Enjoy them on the layout. Enjoy them in the modules. All right, so next thing I want to share with you guys is Friends of Athearn. Every once in a while, I'll find a post on Facebook, or I'll have somebody approach me. And as you know, at the beginning of the month, we were talking about the bay window cabooses that we're releasing. These are also pre-order for this month. We talked about them, I believe, the second week of December. If you've missed that episode, go back to our YouTube channel and look up the Genesis bay window cabooses that we did. And there's a lot of SP stuff in there because they're based on the SP prototype. But I had somebody contact me just recently about this caboose here. This is SP4699. We are offering this in this run. You can go ahead and pre-order this. And like I said, you only got a few more days. So if you've been on the fence, check it out now. So this was sent in by Joel Ashcroft. And Joel's usually here on Train Tuesday. If you look on the sidebar, if you're watching the comments, Joel's usually there, our Mr. Taco Tuesday. So he sent me this really cool picture of 4699. Now, he gave me a little bit of background on what he does, and I'll just read what he sent me just so you guys know. His original SP caboose was 4702. It was used in their work train service for decades, but it was cut up in Oak Ridge about 3 years ago. Then 4699 came from Klamath Falls. It was used in snow service as a cook car until their heavyweight diner was rebuilt at UP's Hinckley Car Shops. And when they acquired 4699, since their old SP diner and numbers 10207 was scrapped, 4699 was modified with better windows, a generator, large propane tank for heat, and a cook stove. Now, that's pretty cool. I mean, even though this probably doesn't see much action as far as rolling action, it's still being used. And this is another great example. If you've got a spot in your yard, you can definitely do these modifications. It looks a little bit different. I'm going to scroll back. It's a little bit different than what you've got here, but if you look real carefully, you can see 4699 there on the kind of faded out when I zoom in. You can see they put the better windows in there, which is kind of neat. They look like regular, I don't know, RV windows or house windows. They've added a make-do staircase here, make it a little bit easier. You can still see the orange ends. You can still see that SP antenna that we were known for. Look at the LP tank. I don't know about you guys, but that's pretty cool. That's like one of those tiny homes that's all the rage right now. I'd live in that. I'd probably paint it back to the original SP, but pretty cool. So Joe, thanks for sending this picture to us. Really appreciate it. We're going to be working on something in the coming year. If there's something that you want to see on Train Tuesday or any of our podcasts has to do with Athearn or what we're working on, we're going to figure out a way for you to contact us and send us your pictures because we really like that. So, all right, I've got time for a few questions. And then we'll pull the pin not only on this Train Tuesday, not only this week, not this month, not this year. We're done. Next Train Tuesday is all the way in the future in 2022. Looking forward to a great year of going back to the train shows and seeing you guys. And looking forward to some of the great stuff we got coming out. So let's see what we got for questions here today. Jonathan, yep, I see your comment. I see it most of the times you're here. I'm going to tell you the same thing I'd always tell you. Please, 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 please send it to our product suggestions. Any Conrail. Well, yeah, technically, even today, if you're N scale or HO, just get one of those Penn Centrals and, you didn't paint it overnight. Jim, I think you do Conrail in the 1980s. Not today, but take a look at our website. Is there any HO stuff this month? Yes, every month is HO. We specifically talked about N scale this week, but if you go to our YouTube channel, I'll be talking about everything that we've done. Genesis, Ready to Roll, Roundhouse, all the HO stuff that you are looking for. And also, if you go to Athearn.com, hit the new announcements tab, or banner rather, it'll take you to all the stuff that we've got, like that HO scale caboose we were just talking about. Idaho Rail Fan is sharing his frustration with us today. He said he got for Christmas a ton of small LEDs. I had almost finished putting 2 in on one of my DCC sound locomotives, but when I was trying to put the shell on something shorted. Yeah, been there, done that. Let's see. And then he finishes his locomotive, took off at full speed, won't respond to any commands. Could anyone tell him what to do to fix it? Well, depending on the locomotive now, if it's a tsunami, there's a way for you, if you look in the your little quick start manual, there's a way to go back to the original settings. It's hard for me to speculate without seeing the locomotive, but you might want to just go ahead and redo that, bring it right back down to its original default, which will bring it down to address number 3. You'll have to reprogram all the settings that you had in it. But Jake here wants to know, what about Friday, Jim? What about Friday? Well, I'm glad you brought that up because Friday is an important day. Friday, the end of the month, is always an important day. Why? Because 2 things that you need to do. You need to go to your hobby shop. You need to call your hobby shop. You need to go to your favorite online retailer. And you need to make your pre-orders. There's a lot of stuff to choose from, I know. Just make it easy on yourself, order it all. And pre-order it, then you're done. Then you can go home, relax about 3:30 in the afternoon. A lot of us are off from work that day. 3:30 Central Time, we're going to have everything that's coming out in January. And we've got a whole new month to talk about new stuff. And let me tell you, January, let's just say it's going to have some big announcements to it. We've got some big EMD stuff on the horizon. And Chicago Northwestern guys, you're going to want to tune in. So don't miss that. 3:30 Central on Friday. We're going to be talking about January new announcements. Jim wants to know, will you be at the Springfield Train Show? Yes. If you mean Springfield, Mass., yes, I will be there. I am very much looking forward to being in my home stomping grounds, if you will, one of my favorite train shows. And probably be talking to the Conrail Historical Society while I'm out there. And by the way, you're going to want to stop by the booth too, since you're a Conrail fan. Terry wants to know, what time is the new Train Tuesday time? So it'll still be Tuesdays, still be Train Tuesday, but it's going to be at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. So depending on where you are in the country, it's going to be a little bit before or a little bit after that. But 7:30 p.m. Central Time. That starts next Tuesday. Wow, I can't believe next week is 2022. Springfield, Illinois, probably not. We won't be set up there as a booth. However, look for me. I might be there. Richard wants to know, will you be at the train show in April in Denver, Colorado? Yes, Richard, we will be. I'm looking forward to that, too. It's been a while since I've been to Denver. That's a great train show. I have never been to that train show. It'll be my first one, so I'm really looking forward to seeing that. And then, you know, as the warmer weather slowly comes back, you're going to see us in St. Louis, and you're going to see us. I'm looking forward to doing Train Fest again next fall. So, all right. Jake wants to know, hope we got some good NSF stuff this Friday in the new announcements. Let's just say I think Derek Glass, our one of our affiliates that does some work for us, I think he's going to be happy. He's a Norfolk Southern fan. Tim, yes, we are. We are planning on being there. Man, it's been a little bit. It seems odd since we've had a national show, so it'll be good to do that again. Any news on the AC 4400s? Yes, there is some news. John no longer has a social life. He has been so busy working on these things. it's hard for me to keep my enthusiasm down because he's done a lot of work on these. There's been a lot of work on these previously, and he's finishing up some of the details. So you're going to be hearing something soon about these AC 4400s, and I think a lot of you guys are going to be really happy with them. All right, I thought I saw some. Corey said, hey, what's going on with what's the deal with the Dash 9 sounds from soundtracks? Well, I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Soundtracks, like they always do, they recorded those from actual Dash 9 locomotives. Now you do realize too, the settings on those can be adjusted. Your light settings can be adjusted. Your sound settings can be adjusted. There are some sounds, we have heard some feedback that some folks think that certain sounds in the Dash 9 is not loud enough. You can go in there and change all those settings to your personal preference. And if you're like me and you're in a small room, you can make those quieter. I didn't really have the problem with the sounds being too loud, but then again, I have a very small layout room. All right, I got time for one more question, and then we're gonna end the year. I can't believe it. Jonathan, probably not that I know of. Asking about the show in southwestern Ontario. One of these days, though, I'd like to go to a certain hobby shop up in the Northwoods and talk to some folks, because there's some great hobby shops north of our border that just do a phenomenal job, and I'd love to see them in person. Yeah, Brad was saying, I found the air compressor on my Dash 9s to be way too loud, but other than that, I thought they sounded great. Yeah, Brad, just go in there and adjust it. I do that on even my simple little Jeep 7s and Jeep 9s. I always find the bells to be too loud, so I adjust them. And you can just kind of fool around with those until you get the right sound, the right volume, I guess you could say. Brad's like, already done. Well, of course he's done. He knows what he's doing. All right. All right. Well, it looks like we have got pretty much everything covered here. A lot of suggestions. So for those guys out there suggesting stuff, and there's a lot of great suggestions. Don't get me wrong. Let's go to athearn.com, the contact us link, and then look for the product suggestions email address. Go ahead and select that. Put in stuff in there. If you've got actual pictures of locomotives that you'd like to see done, or paint schemes of locomotives that you'd like to see done on models that we've done in the past, by all means, either put that in the email or let that person know that you've got some material that you'd be willing to share. Now, one thing I say every time is those emails, they are read, they are collected, they are sorted. They're not always responded to, so don't feel bad. We've got developers that look at all that. They get inundated with so many emails on product suggestions that they do their best. And in some cases, if there's something that they really want to reach out and say, hey, do you have pictures of such and such? Would you be willing to work with us? We will. But don't think that by us not responding, that doesn't mean we're not paying attention. We really are. And we really do appreciate guys that have sent in information for us. All right. Well, on that note, I'm going to call this Train Tuesday, this week, this year. I'm going to pull the pin and call it good. You know what? We've only got a few more days of 2021. Continue to be safe. Continue to be happy. Do some good modeling. You know what? And help somebody out in the hobby. That's the best thing that you can do, whether it be a younger person or somebody that's just new into the hobby. Take some of your time and help them out. That's one of the best things you can do to promote this hobby. Until next time, I want to wish everybody out there have a happy and safe new year, and do some modeling this coming weekend. Hopefully you've got a long weekend ahead of you. I will see you guys Friday at 3:30 Central Time for the new January announcements. Until then, Happy New Year and high greens, everyone. Take care.